Hey guys, what is going on? Today we're going to do a video that many of you requested, and that is a reaction to what Jeff Nippard did as the last video. So it's about how to look better without steroid, and this video really did apparently a number on quite a lot of you. So you know what? I just did chest and arms. I'm going to eat my dinner. So there is chicken rice. I already got the veggies prior because I was too hungry. So screen record the screen and let's fucking go.
Is it possible to look like you're on steroids without ever actually taking steroids? I think it is, but a lot of people find that hard to believe.
Vast majority of people are saying there's no way this guy is natural.
You just won't be able to convince me there's a single chance he achieved this naturally.
So I put it to the test, and I showed this group of guys who swear they're all natural to random strangers and asked them one question: who's natty and who's not?
Him.
You think he's on steroids? Okay.
Oh yeah, like that's just insane.
It's pretty big.
It gets a little suspicious, you know. It's a little too much.
I think he takes steroid.
Him?
Yeah.
Okay, you stay forward.
100% I would say natural.
No, they've just been getting roasted the whole time. So
Yeah, so
they're
sorry
used
about
to
that.
it,
Yeah.
Based on their answers, I was able to pinpoint exactly which body features people look at when they're suspecting steroids. And in this video, I'll show you how to build up those features 100% naturally. By the end, you'll know exactly how to look enhanced without ever touching a needle. As for our 8 test subjects, I totally understand the skepticism when you just look at them, especially a few in particular. That's why I'm secretly bringing in a medical doctor who's gonna blood test every single person later in the video. And I'll say this, there's definitely one curveball in those testosterone results. First, let's break down what people think a natural physique actually looks like. On the right is the definitely natty zone. Basically, everyone I interviewed thought this look was achievable naturally with some basic training. A few people pointed to subject number 5's quads as being a little suspicious, but I got in a leg workout with him, and I definitely think he earned those quads naturally. On the left side,
Okay. The 3 guys on the left are most likely juicing. They could be just having golden genetic, but in my humble opinion, I do believe they are juicy. Maybe not the black dude, the second black dude with the blue short, but the 2 others, it's either a genetic thing, like 1 in a billion, or they are juicy. Okay, that's quite simple. And look, he's going to do a test for, I guess, a few hormones. I hope it's not just testosterone. He is going to apparently make them judge regarding, most likely enhanced, most likely natural, which they basically went from the biggest and the leanest from to the scrawniest. And he just said something that for me is, Jeff is an intellectual. He's really thorough. He has a quite serious image. But right there, he just said that for him, the Asian is natural despite having big quads and big calves because he did a workout with him, so he knows. Since when can you judge if someone's natural based on one workout with them? You can't. That is not scientific. That is not something that you can just observe like that. This clip looks very weird, and its argumentation too.
questionable zone. Most people thought these guys were probably taking something. Even after I told them they swear they're 100% natty, some people still had their doubts. So what if I told you all of these people are actually natural?
That's crazy.
Oh, I'm gonna start working out too.
Do you believe me?
It gets a little suspicious, you know. It's a little too much. I'd have to say no.
Yeah?
I'd have to
Okay,
say
fair.
no.
Fair, legit. Are you in my YouTube comments? Out of curiosity, I asked people where they'd insert me into the lineup, and some of their answers were a little surprising.
At the end there.
At the end?
I gotta put you at 2. I gotta put you at 2.
Right here?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay. Not here?
Yeah, I can put you at 1. I can put you at 1. Yeah, I can put you at 1.
But if you cancel out the person who put me in the most jacked spot, definitely a fan, and my biggest hater of all time, Madeline, who put me in the least jacked spot, on average, most people put me in the middle, right between the definitely natty zone.
Okay, so we have a guy who is quite short. When you're short in bodybuilding, it is an advantage because you will look big. You will not be that big, but you will look big. And Jeff is like, I think it's 165 centimeters, 5'5", something like that. I guess he's my age, he's around 30. He's been training for, I guess, something like at least 10 years, maybe possibly more, like 12, something like that. Even more, I don't know. All these guys look quite young, like 20 something, 25 at best. So you're telling me that these guys looks better than Jeff, who has been training diligently with, already quite blessed genetic-wise, with a natural pro athlete. No, he has a pro card in a natural federation. I do not remember the name, IFC or WNBF. I don't remember the name, but he's a pro natural bodybuilder. And you have this dude, I don't even know. I saw the very big black dude, at the far left on Instagram, but all the other, except maybe the guy with the curly hair, I think I saw a few reels of him. It's like, come on. When a guy who's been training like at least half his life or something like that is put in the middle, next to guys that are at least 5 years younger than him.
In the questionable zone. Several people pointed to my shoulders as my enhanced feature. And in my experience, that usually is the first thing that people look for when they're judging whether or not someone's enhanced. Anytime I'm accused of taking steroids, I always hear that my delts look just a little too 3D. And while I owe a lot of my deltoid development to solid science-based training principles, I probably owe more of it to my mom.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for that. There is 3 things I want to say here. The first thing is that he said that one of the most juiciest muscle group are the shoulder. The bigger they are and the more round and wide they are, the most likely this guy has been using like androgenic substance because there is a lot of AR over there. AR stands for androgen receptors. I'm personally going to say it a lot. So AR, androgen receptor, we have a lot of them around the neck, the traps, the upper chest, even the chest as a whole, the mid-back, the upper back, the delt, obviously, and also the biceps. Because that's why when you have a guy who is extremely muscular, but just very specifically around here, it's kind of, off-putting regarding the natural stature. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, I don't know if you knew, but the muscle potential that you have, the genetic for muscle building that you have, is on the X chromosome. And your X chromosome, whatever your gender, comes from your mom. Always. If you're a man, you have X and Y chromosome. X is still your mom. If you are a girl, double X, still your mom. So your genetic potential comes from your mom's side. Look at Jeff. Look at his mom. His mom is jacked. And she's not even like in her prime, I guess, anymore. And she's huge. She's just a very well-built woman. And he's quite well-built too. So genetically speaking, kind of, I don't know if it's called genetic, if it's like top 1%, maybe not, but it's like definitely above average. And furthermore, it means that Jeff not only had good genetic, it means that his, I guess, both his parents, but at least his mom, were epigenetically athletes. So on the epigenetic side of things, he got a gene pool where the expression of basically athletes and strength sport and hypertrophy related genes got to express potentially way more. Can think back where he was in between all these guys and there was at least 3 guys to thinking.
Like, just look at her shoulders right now at 60 years old.
60 years old.
But if you're chasing that natural...
Okay, so I guess he's trying to show his shoulder to say, look, I had big shoulder and yet I'm natural. Okay, so first thing first, we do not know. We cannot know for sure that he never ever used mini dose or macro or micro dose, whatever. Second, his shoulder looks natural. When you're juicing, they look like fucking pads. It's like you literally put silicone under your shoulder to make them puff more. You literally have shoulder pad under your skin. That's what it looks like when you're juicing. And you already know the look. It's like the lateral head alone is bigger than all the rest of the shoulder. And the shoulder itself is as big as your head. Yes, he has good shoulder. It's not that big. I mean, he's natural. This is definitely not like off-putting, in my opinion.
Building a wide set of delts is absolutely crucial. And the real key is the side delts. I do lateral raises at least twice
Just a little thing here. The most difference between a natural guy and a enhanced guy, delt-wise, will not necessarily be the lateral delt, it would be the real delt. It's that's the real delt that is almost always as big as the front delt on enhanced guys. And yes, the lateral delt is also very, very big, but it's especially the real delt that is humongous with juicing athletes. That's why when you see someone who has very thick, big real delt, either it's a natural who has a very strong point with the real delt, but most of the time when you see someone like that, he will have very weak lats, for example, because basically every time he's pulling, he will use his rear delt and his traps, but never more his teres major and lats. Or something weird,
a week. But when I was early on in my
So
bodybuilding
he's telling
journey,
us,
there
I'm
were
doing all
actually
this
periods
volume,
where I
I'm
do
doing all
lateral
this
raises
optimized
at the end of
exercise, I'm
every
doing
workout.
this perfectly
So if you're
well
struggling to
split.
grow them, try training them more often.
Train
Even
them more
3 to
often
5
because,
times a
of
week.
course, it's not
After
about
3D delts, the
something like the
second
frequency.
naturally enhanced feature that people pointed to was actually the biceps. I was a little surprised at this, but
A hard disagree on my side, it would be the upper chest. Most of the time, it's really the upper chest. As natural, you can build a good upper chest. There are athletes that are juicing that will not even target it, like they will do flat press, decline press, dips. So chest builder that are quite thorough, like overall, nothing really specifically on the upper chest, and they literally have cushion. So yeah, whatever. But yeah, not biceps.
every single person pointed out the biceps on the 4 guys in the questionable zone.
Like the arms are literally as big as my leg.
That's like, oh no.
Turns out that if you're trying to impress everyday folks, having some big peaked biceps might just be the easiest way to do it. Subject number 4 drew a lot of attention for his biceps peaks, so I wanted to see if he had any
International.
secret sauce for building those insane 18-inch arms.
Literally
Like me.
18, right on the money.
Yes, I was a competitive gymnast. So up until I was 14.
I got this one photo. I pulled this off my mom's Facebook.
You can even see the delt development. How old are you there?
You see, I believe this guy is natural. Might be not, but look at the shape. There is nothing off-putting. He's very well built, but the muscle tone, the muscle development overall is very thorough. There is balance, there is symmetry, there is a logic. And most of the time when you see fake nighties, the logic is off. Something's too big, something is disproportionate. It might not be bad looking, but it's weird. This guy, I was thinking he was looking quite athletic. He must have done something as a kid. He was doing gymnastics. That is basically the best way to farm genes for hypertrophy. Like literally that and wrestling and like combat sport, stuff like that, sprinting as well. The guy has humongous delt and arms. Guess what? As a kid, he was doing monkey shit. Of course, his nuclei, his satellite cells of his muscle will be primed up. He's used to use his body. His tendon and ligament have been conditioned from a young age. His bone as well. His muscle as well. So, of course, it's like he comes in the gym and it's like he's already level 20. He's not level 1 anymore. And if he's doing shit like that, you bet he can do strict form pull-up and strict form chin-up and strict form dips and push-up. So bench press will be quite easy to learn because he already has all the motor recruitment and pathway and motor units and the proprioception required to do quite basic and not that hard and not so complex exercise. Yes, bodybuilding, like doing bench press and squats requires some technique skills, but bench and squat versus clean and jerk and snatches or overhead squats and versus Maltese and Iron Cross and Victorian Cross and whatever the way doing on the rings. Come on.
Maybe 12.
Tolga explained to me that he does a lot of preacher curls with forced reps at the end. So once he can't get the weight up on his own, he uses his other hand for assistance and then takes the full weight on the negative. Even though my biceps aren't really a strong point for me,
this has absolutely nothing to do with force rep. He's just using sufficient intensity and sufficient frequency and sufficient volume so it's growing.
I did manage to grow them over the last year,
I did not see
according
his
to
video.
ultrasound measurements, and I owe a lot of those gains to this exercise right here, Bayesian curls.
That's not a Bayesian curl, that's a stretch curl.
And it's just curling up like this.
People that say Bayesian curl, it's like you mean the guy invented the exercise. He did not. I have books from 2010, 2012 of bodybuilding that show the exact same exercise. It's called a stretch curl or a cable incline curl. It's not a Bayesian curl. First and foremost. Second, the cable is a tad too high. And third,
You can really emphasize the length and position. After
he's not... Okay, whatever.
biceps, the next thing that stood out as an enhanced feature was actually the upper pecs. A few people pointed this out on subject number 2 as his main wow factor, and I'll take a little credit for that.
So this is weird. Okay? If he is cold, not pumped, this is weird. He has a very vertical sternum, and he seems to have very diagonal humerus angle. You can even see that there is a huge gap between the rear deltoid development and the front. He has a huge chest as a whole, so like the whole chest is a strong point. He must be pressing a lot because he has a huge chest, decent delt, but only on the front, and quite good-ish triceps. Maybe even the pose, maybe he's actually quite big and he doesn't just know how to pose. This is quite, this is very sus, okay? This is very suspicious.
I actually coached Shamar to the all-time Canadian bench press record for his...
How much is that? 210, 205 kilogram. So yeah, obviously a guy who is benching 4 plate and a half will have a juicy chest and or juicy delt and or juicy triceps. In his case, he's a very strong presser, elbows out, strong arch, but you see it's very flat, so upper chest is right into the center of pressing the weight. So he has a very thick ribcage, so it's protending forward. Bone-wise, it makes sense to have the chest like that. It's still sus. And he's doing powerlifting. In powerlifting, you have no idea how it is the far west compared to other sports regarding PEDs. Like, you have no idea. And I do not care if you're like, yeah, but this thing, IPF and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I know powerlifters that are competing at international level.
In drug-tested powerlifting. Even though some of the science-based community prefers machines over the bench press, I strongly believe it's one of the best exercises.
Okay, so you see here, we have a powerlifter. This is a guy who's doing bench press, who also has pretty thick thighs, and there is an overall logic into his body. He is potentially juicing, but I see so many weak points, and I see that the traps are not that well developed, the shoulders are not that round, he has big arms, obviously he's a strong bencher. No strong bencher got skinny arm. He got big, thick ribcage, plus big, thick chest on top of that, who are very well thorough developed, so it's very impressive, but you see there is a lack of balance here and there, so it's us again, but it might be natural, you will need to see him cutting, at like single-digit body fat, and then we would see, potentially. But for me, he's just a big dude. He's both the genetic, he's the bone structure, and he got the strength. I mean, at some point you have to realize, guys, there is maybe the volume, and maybe there is the setup, and the form, and the blah, blah, blah. If you're strong as shit, with good range of motion exercise, like, like hack squat and Roman and deadlift, things you cannot, like, use leverage to cheat, and you can do the same with, like, incline press, with a flat back, and you're dangling a motorcycle between your legs when you're doing dips and chin-up, you'll be big. You'll be big. You have a guy who is benching 200 kilogram. I hope he's big.
I think, man, I really don't think it's a coincidence, bro. Like,
yeah, it's not.
Everyone I see who has a big bench has a big chest.
Has a big chest as well, right?
Now, when it comes to the upper pecs in particular, it is pretty clear that an incline bench will grow that area a bit better. So for the best total pec development, make sure you include some kind of incline press or incline fly as well. After the pecs, a lot of people pointed out that everyone in the questionable zone had bigger traps than everyone else. And science does suggest that having massive traps can be an indicator of special supplements. That's because your upper traps have a higher androgen receptor density than most other muscles. Basically, there are just more testosterone receptors on the muscle cells there. So when you inject testosterone, it tends to have a bigger impact on the traps since there are more receptors to bind to. I never had the best traps personally, but I did manage to bring them up the best my genetics.
Never got the best traps because he never trained them seriously. All he did that I've seen are deadlift rows, maybe a bit of upright rows, and some weird foo-foo exercise from science-based whatever bullshit. I never saw him rack pull a shitload of weight, except in one video once years ago, where he was with Alex of Alpha Destiny, no Alexander Leonidas. And he was doing, I think, rack pull, like 6 plates, something like that. And by some magical effect, his traps were huge and pumped. He never do shrugs, he never do power shrugs, he do not do high pull, he does not do handed side lift. He doesn't do... He's not doing anything remotely close to stimulate a muscle as strong as the traps. And he's not training his neck. So yeah, he's going to be lackluster, whatever the genetic and whatnot, you know. He's not maximized it. So except if it was really S-tier genetic, neck-wise and trap-wise, nothing's going to happen. If you want a thick neck, if you want a thick neck, you will have to train it. Or you will at least need to juice. And I have seen guys that are juicing, and it's not even that big over there. So, you know, get a neck harness and train it.
Would allow. Obviously, shrugs are a staple.
Triplate. See? If you are asking yourself maybe, okay, Soviet, you're telling us, you know, we need to shrug and shrug it. At least, at the very least, 5 plates. Anything under 5 plates, like Jamie Lewis used to say, is cardio. Okay? I can personally shrug 400 kilogram for reps. Yes, the form is not like all nice and easy like that and controlled. It's like I'm having a sheath, but my traps are literally holding my arm from being torn off my body while I'm hosting the weight. It's like it's an active stretch, you know, like the weighted stretch thing, you know, with the hypertrophy thing, you know, so magical and so new that we had to wait all these years and all these decades when all the athletes were already doing weight stretching with plenty of exercise and getting gains from it, and you did not need that label. Regardless, there is 2 plates missing from each side, and personally, I have seen like really a before after with my traps when I started to shrug 7 plates. So 300 kilogram or 660 pounds or thing like that. And I currently can shrug 400 kilograms or 880 pounds, 9 plate and a half. Of course, my traps are going to get big. And block pull, rack pull wise, I can do 6 plate and a cookie with a bar at knee height. I've done half tone with the bar above the knee. Mid-thigh, mid shin, I can do 5 plate and a half, stuff like that for reps always. 3 plate to the chest line. I've done 4 plate to like upper abs. I've done something called like therapy by Dimitri Kokov, where you can it's basically cheated upright row, and I can do basically 2 plates almost with that, and the barbell is almost touching my chin. So if it's this kind of thing, different traps, guys. I do not make the rule, neither does he. But this is not enough.
But a good tip is to use a slightly wider grip and think about shrugging up and in. That way you'll hit the upper trap fibers along their fiber orientation much better. The upper trap fibers actually run a lot more horizontally than many people realize. I also think including some kind of overhead raise is a good idea for the upper traps. So that could be a full ROM lateral raise or an overhead loo raise on the cables. And even though it's fallen out of fashion a bit lately,
show me one guy who got big traps doing glue raises and glue raises on the cable, and I don't know, I'll do that and stop doing shrugs, I guess.
direct neck training can make a big difference here too. But above all that, in my personal opinion, this next thing is the biggest factor that's actually fully within your control, and it's simply being lean. Assuming you have some muscle base, when you're leaner, you're going to look much more jacked. As a comparison, this is what I looked like 30 pounds heavier at around 20% body fat, and this is what I look like now, 30 pounds lighter at around 10% body fat. I'm definitely getting more steroid accusations now.
I get it, I agree, but it does not look like he's juicing, because the muscle tone and the skin tone and the overall thing looks good, and there is like no acne, there is no weird spots, there is definitely no injection site trace, there is no spot stuff, there is no redness or orange weird area with weird coloration or decoloration. So I hope he's natural with a shape like that, because it's definitely achievable and naturally by most people with a decade and plus of training. You know, maybe not exactly the same, because the guy is quite short, he's quite stocky, so it's easier to feel the frame than someone who is a bit taller, and even someone who is definitely taller. Still, the overall thing looks natural, and people that think that this is, that requires steroid accusation, steroid use, your life is sudden.
now, despite the fact that I'm actually quite a bit smaller. That's the illusion of bodybuilding.
I think a big part of creating that enhanced.
That's true. That's true. Being big everywhere is not necessarily the best thing. For example, having a small waist will immediately emphasize better your arm, your chest, your shoulder width, and also your legs mass. And the bigger your waist is, the least big things around will appear. So it's kind of true on that.
Just getting leaner.
Yeah, for sure. 100%, especially when you're natty.
If you get leaner and you get on camera under some decent lighting,
Yeah, you look crazy.
you're gonna look way bigger. It's just the way it is.
true.
You're actually smaller, but you look bigger.
When you're leaner, you'll also be more vascular, which is actually not nearly as related to steroids as many people think.
Phil Heath is arguably the best. You could make the case he's the best bodybuilder ever, the most gifted anyway, and he just wasn't a vascular guy. Neither was Jay Cutler. You'll get more roid accusations if you are vascular. People for some reason think it's related. It's mostly just genetic, honestly. It's mostly genetic and low body fat.
Someone like Hussein gets a lot of fake natty accusations online.
The problem with his shape is that the most overdeveloped muscle, as we said earlier, are the delts, the traps, and the biceps. The chest is flat, the forearm is okay, the triceps, is from the front, so I'm not going to see a muscle that is bad there, but the tricep does not necessarily look that huge. It's definitely pumped. It's definitely taking that with angles. There is potentially filters and post-edit and post-prod stuff, especially in the middle one. It's sus. Again, it's sus.
He has a huge social media following. And yeah, he has a
What? Oh, wait a minute.
lot of fake natty
What the
accusations
fuck did I just
online
saw?
since he has the huge social media.
He's 23. He's 23. Okay. 23. All right. We are halfway. I already know what I'm going to say.
Even in real life, so I get it. But just like me and pretty much every other fitness influencer, he does understand the power of lighting, posing, and the illusion
Is he really
of bodybuilding.
comparing himself to the guy we just
Don't
saw?
realize just how much of a difference lighting can make in how enhanced you look, especially when you're lean like Hussein. Actually, while shooting this video, I played with 2 different lighting options. This is what everyone looked like with standard diffuse lighting. Now look at the difference once we switched to more spot lighting.
This is a gymnast. You can see my finger, I'm so dumb. The guy in the middle is the dude that did gymnastics as a kid. Okay, for years. Look at his physique. We have a guy who's done everything possible right from the get-go to be one of the best, or really optimize as much as possible his genetic and his muscle building potential by stimulating as much as possible the nuclei earlier on and building a lot of resistance and a lot of athleticism early. Look at this Hussein, I guess his name is. Look at him just next to him. And this Hussein is almost as big as a dude who looks chunky, with definitely high body fat, but who is a Canadian champ on the bench who is able to rep 4 plates with ease. And this dude is 23 and he's been training for, I think they say 3 years.
Went from natty to enhanced in
Oh, yes,
1
the
second
lighting. Oh, yeah.
transformation. Here's another visual. This is what I look like
so
just standing
different.
in my kitchen under normal lighting with no posing and being filmed on an iPhone. All I did was run downstairs to my posing room, flicked on a spotlight, hit a most muscular pose, and switched to a Sony 3 camera. That's a big visual difference with less than 1 minute between shots. I'm only 155 pounds right now, and when you look at me posing on my own, I think I do look massive, but when you put me into the lineup of other guys that are bigger than me, I think it adds a lot of context. Now, right before I show you everyone's blood work, let's talk about Julian. This guy's caught the internet by storm, with the majority of people saying there's simply no way he's natural, especially when you consider he just turned 19.
He's 19. Look at. I get now why people are upset with this video. Jeff gave us the habit of a dude who seems kind and nice and approachable and relatable, who seems to do his best and try to give us the best information. He did plenty of guides, he did plenty of things for the fitness community, and he has been rewarded and put forward as much. So many of you learned a lot from him, and I did not learn much from him, if at all, but he did the work, and good deed, good thought, good act, whatever. Right now, this video is trying to make us believe that a guy with 23 and another guy with 19 are destroying literally 99% of the fit gain worldwide, and they look like they're on steroids, but they're not. It's just genetic. Okay. He's 19, okay? I'm going to do a bit of editing here, and I'm going to show you Leanness at 18. Potentially natural, potentially juicing, I do not know. Look at him next to this guy. Then I'm going to show you Lee Priest, 17, Natty, and then 19, not Natty. Then I'm going to show you Arnold Schwarzenegger, 19, not Natty. And then I'm going to show you Victor Richard at 18. I don't know if he's natural, but, you know, whatever. And then I'm going to show you Ronnie Coleman at 18. And then I'm going to show you Flex Wheeler. And then I'm going to show you Casey Viator, who was the youngest Mr. Universe and was already juicing at this age. And you're telling me that this guy is natural and already better or as good as either we have a single specimen who is 1 in a 10 billion and he should do bodybuilding and he should be rushing to get his pro card and he should be able to compete as a pro bodybuilder naturally, or it's just yet again another fucking scam and Jeff Nippard is telling you to swallow the pill and he's getting mad that people do not want to swallow said pill. This is dishonest. Between him and the other guy with 23, with a physique that is already a mile, like light years ahead of like mine and others, it's like the fitness community is an eternal cycle. You know, when I began, I was 19. It was mid-June 2012. And there was not like classic physique and men's physique. I think men's physique just arrived this said year. We only had open bodybuilding and we only had big guys. But to do the advertisement on magazine and even on the beginning of, you know, Facebook, internet, Instagram, we had some people that were called fitness model. And this fitness model was supposedly natural and, you know, just advertising for supplement and training program and stuff like that, advocating for the coaching services, etc. We had Lazar Angelov. The big three at the time was Lazar Angelov. We had Eli Junior and we had Simon Penda. Simon Penda had the same stats as Arnold in his prime. Eli Junior was bigger than Serge Lebret in his prime, and Lazar Angelov was exactly the same stat as Serge Lebret in his prime, and they were supposedly natural. Guess what? They were not. But they made a ton of bucks on that. They did what they had to do. Lazar Angelov, I think, is not relevant anymore today. Eli Junior is doing his thing, you know. I think he's a family man now. Simon Penda is doing his thing as well. You know, he got it. He succeeded. There are other guys that were maybe not natural, but naturally achievable. I am thinking of Mark Fit, I think his name is, and also Greg Pitt, you know, aside of the fucking gorgeous face and the great bone structure and the fucking huge biceps and the washboard abs. I mean, he was a fitness model. He was not that big, you know, but these guys were freakishly big. Then 5 years later, Pro Psycho, and it's 2016, 2018, and now we have dudes like David Lade. We had a time where we had Jeff Said, you know, was always weird. We had like two guys that were supposedly like vegan. We had Mike Owen. We had a guy like a short black dude, Usman, Oman or something like that. He was like accused by Fillion of being a fake natural, and you insert something like, you know, I'm doing my cardio with no hands, some bullshit like that, and they were all juicy. All of them. So it was blatantly lying and saying they were natural instead of just saying the truth. But yet again, it's about marketing, advertisement, and blah, blah, blah. Then recycle again, most of them, I don't know, they got fucked up health-wise, they broke bones or tore muscle, whatever, or just got old and disinterested, or just like David Lade, they were able to breach and make a living out of it. And I guess now it's the next generation. So now we have yet again guys that are 18, 20, they are on sound, they are or whatever TRT bullshit. And they are telling you, oh, this sound and this peptide does not count, you're still natural, just to sell a buck to impressionable young teen. Or they are like literally using steroids and they are light. I'm only seeing a recycling again of the same thing here. This dude should be winning everything in bodybuilding at this age because he's already better than most champs that were blessed genetically like this. And I get now why people are upset. I get it. Jeff is dishonest here. And you know what? Furthermore, you know what? No, I'm not going to eat right now. I'm going to tell you something again, guys. If it's truly genetic, why are they not doing any kind of specific training? If it's genetic, and it's only genetics that matter. Because Bertil Fox at 18 was not doing anything special. Neither were all the other guy I named. And yet we have Jeff Nippard, who is doing optimized, science-based, evidence-based, whatever-based. He has a great gene from his mom. We saw it. He's been training for 15 years, whatever. Why is he not better than them? He's already above average genetic. He's been training for 15 years. At least 5 of them were optimized, evidence-based, science-based. He's getting mugged. He's getting out-angled. I mean, at some point, the guy, he was closer to the camera than Usain, and Usain was still bigger than him. So is it genetic or is it optimal training that makes you big? Because as far as I'm concerned, it looks like it's only genetic. And whatever you're doing, it's only going to be genetic. So then why should we even bother with science-based training and evidence-based training and optimized training? It's only a label again. It's only fucking marketing to sell shit again. It's a conman sport. Conman sport here. Because it's exactly the same kind of shit that in the 70s, Joe Wader was pulling out with Arnold, selling, flexing stuff, for the chest, telling you that you're going to get 2 inches in a month on the chest and losing 8 pounds of fat at the same time. And it's the exact same thing when you had this kind of Conan the Barbarian bracers, to increase the arm strength and the arm size. And just buy them, and in 8 weeks, you will have thick, massive arm, and you would show Arnold or Dave Draper with this shit. Selling again to young, impressionable men and young teens that want to have a good body because they feel the shame and they feel bad about their body. And instead of uplifting them, instead of giving the right advice, telling them that it's going to take time and this is going to be diligent and it's not something you can buy off, it's not something that you can cheat off. We have guys that are now telling you this is genetic and counting the calories, so they're using AI stuff, to take pictures and estimate the calories, or they're using whatever nutrition app. I'm waiting, by the way, for there must be an ad somewhere for his app, a micro factor, macro, whatever. It's always about business and money, because again, if his science base is so good, why he's not bigger than them, or he's not stronger? Where are his juicy traps? He's doing all this low raise thing. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, 19. You're 19? Okay, yeah.
Oh, they were same age.
Yeah. I've been training for almost as long as he's been.
Look at his biceps. He's rolling. It's a prime machine. The weights are put because there are different pins. Okay, and depending on where you put the weight on the pins, it's going to more or less overload a specific part of movement, either the beginning or the mid or the end range. If I remember correctly, because I trained once on them, it was in Switzerland. If I remember correctly, middle and top is the beginning in the middle, and his biceps are bulging in a position where they're supposed to be stretched up. Look, I have shit biceps, but look, this is my biceps when my arm is stretched out.
I'm gonna max this thing out for him.
He doesn't even know where to fit them.
Yeah, we're starting to run out of room, but yeah, what's another 10? 360. Let's go. We might as well go 365.
You think you'll get it?
I don't know.
Yeah?
I just loaded as much as I could. All right. Tell me on 1, 2, 3, okay?
3, 2, 1, up.
Here we go. Woo-wee!
That's actually insane.
Yo!
Look at Usain on the right. Guys, he's just angle. Guy is just tightening. Guy is just pump. Guy is just leanness. I don't want to be a hater because people are also accusing me of being fake natural and have friends that are quite jacked and the same thing. But I've been training for 13 years and I was doing sport before, and my friends have been training for around the same period, at least 10 years. Or they did a shit ton of sport prior to going into weightlifting and bodybuilding. And even us do not look like that.
Let's go, Julian. Push it. 6. Let's get 8. Come on, come on. 7. Okay, this
Let's go 12, maybe.
Go heavier. Stop.
Okay.
That's too light for you. And you don't do weighted pull-ups?
I do. I just
You do have 3 plates.
You do 3 plates?
19 2-plate chin-up.
I don't even know what to say right now. It's just depressing. I'm not sure to be like, if I should be motivated or just sad.
Yeah, I don't know, Jeff. Why aren't you doing weighted chin-up? It's a very good exercise, you know. It's science-based and everything. Okay. So now he will try to tell us that, oh, look, there are these dudes years ago that were natural. They were big. So this dude is natural, and he's big, and he's natural, trust me. Yeah, Melvin West, that dude, okay. I know it's good. This pic was taken in the 40s. This pic was taken in the 40s. That dude was doing some bodybuilding, was training full body twice per week. The only two exercises he did for his arm were strict standing by barbell curl, 3x8 to 10, and he was doing military press standing, 3x8 to 10. And only isolation here and there, if he had the time, because he did not want to do bodybuilding anymore. He wanted to be the AAU team of weightlifting. Okay, AAU is a federation that's been created by Bob Hoffman, and it is older than the IFBB that was created by Joe Wade. That dude literally built this physique, at least the arm and shoulder, doing 3x8 to 10 on bench, 3x8 to 10 on OHP, and 3x8 to 10 on curls. And he was doing very good weight. You know, on the curl, he was doing like a bit more than a plate, 70 kilograms, so like 150 pounds, something like that. He was doing 3 plate 4 reps, guillotine style press, bench press, you know. And he was doing maybe 2 plate or almost 2 plate, something like 90 kilo, 200 pounds on military press. And he built 18 inches or 46 centimeter arms at 178 centimeter. So 5'10", weighing almost 200 pounds or 90 kilos. That's genetic. And that's how guy was beating himself up in the gym twice per week, plus competition during the weekend. And he's going to try to give us this example because that dude's getting out-angled and mugged by this 19 Julius guy, regardless.
Oh, look, he has biceps peak. The first corroborated reports of testosterone use in the lifting community were in 1952. So there's an extremely high likelihood those arms are 100% natty. But if you're really tapped in, you may know that Soviet lifters did use testosterone in the late 1940s, so maybe this guy somehow got his hands on it. One person who definitely didn't get his hands on steroids, though, was this gentleman. And we know that because this photo was taken
if memory serves correct, Eugene Carlson was either German or Dutch. He was 163 or 5'2", 5'4". He was not above 70 kilograms of body weight. And his arm, yes, he had great biceps, yet he was shredded. And yes, he had very impressive arm, possibly something like 41 centimeter or 16 inches, something like that. Do not tell me that he's trying to compare Melvin Well and Eugene Carlson to this Julius guy. And regardless, this Carlson guy was, if he would be in the lineup, he would be about Jeff Nippard's height, and he would be trumped by almost everyone size-wise, and he would just be extremely lean compared to them. Do not try to sell this shit off.
2 decades before injectable testosterone was ever even isolated for the first time.
35.
Not gonna lie, those bicep
33
peaks
actually.
do look a bit familiar. Here's
I
the
don't
thing.
remember.
Some people are just jacked.
My brain is fogged
just
by
like
the
there's a
cut.
huge range in height potential.
He's really comparing.
There's also a huge range in muscle growth potential. If we see someone who's 7 feet tall, we don't immediately think they're taking growth hormone. But when it comes to muscle mass, people often forget the role of genetics and immediately jump to steroids. Now, I don't want to under any of Julian's hard work and chalk it all up to genetics. The dude trains like an absolute beast. But I do think his answer to this question was revealing.
What do you have for breakfast?
I do eat a lot of like protein and stuff like that. Like same thing everybody else eats. Like I go to Wendy's sometimes, you know what I mean? Nothing crazy.
Here's what I think.
Train hard,
Sometimes
never give up.
when you combine world-class genetics with super hard training, you really can
Oh,
get
yeah,
to
he
a
seems
level
to be
of muscular
struggling
development
so much.
that some people simply aren't going to believe is possible naturally, no matter what you say.
I'm in the gym all the time. Like it's like when somebody's like basically saying, nah, you didn't put in the work, you just stuck a needle in your arm. But
Right.
I'm like
3 years. He's been training for 3 years and he's telling us about putting in the work. So, here again, what I've been doing for 13 years. Was I wanking myself or something? What about Jeff? 15 years apparently. Was he wanking himself in the gym? The dude who is a bench press champion. What is he doing in the gym? Lapping?
I hate needles.
Afraid of needles.
See,
Okay.
that's how you know he's not enhanced, because he said you put it in your arm and you don't inject in your arm. Nah. So are you planning to stay natural, or have you thought about that?
As of right now, I'm just focused on, getting through school.
Yeah.
And I'm also like a big family dude, so I want to start a family and stuff.
Okay.
And
awesome.
Once everything's kind of, set in stone and I have everything laid out, then I'll be like, all right, cool, let's shoot for Olympia, you know what I mean?
For real?
Shoot for real.
Oh, he's just training a bit. He has been doing it. And, he's always in the gym. Let's shoot for the Olympia.
Okay. And despite that sounding authentic, I still want a little more confirmation. So while they get their blood drawn, I'll tell you what I'm looking for in someone who's natural. Most healthy young men will have testosterone levels between around 200 and 850.
This is modern values. Just 2-3 decades ago, you would have to be at least 400 to be considered healthy. And it could go up to 1,000.
Nanograms per deciliter. If you're over 1,000, that's a bit suspicious. Over 1,200 is very suspicious, and over 1,500 is basically impossible without steroid. Pro bodybuilders will sometimes go well above 5,000. I've even heard of people going above 10,000, especially if they're not taking other drugs to suppress their levels. All right, now with that in mind, let's take a look at the blood results. Now, for the sake of full transparency, I have to say, there actually was one person who went above the normal range for testosterone. This is the bar graph of everyone's levels, and they range from 415 to 689.
One of the skinny dudes is going to have
except
as much.
for one person.
Yeah, that's one of the skinny dudes.
928. Who do you think it was? It was actually subject number 6, Spencer. Everyone else was in the 400s to 600s, but
Testosterone in itself, all alone, does not mean shit. I was quite disappointed when I learned that by myself, but I've been training guys who have health issues and who need HRT, hormone replacement therapy. So coaching guys that are using TRT, other stuff for the health, literally for the health. One guy has tumor in the brain, other guy has been crippled by hypogonadism, primary form. So they just need it, to not be literally zombie and fuck ups in their life. Despite using hormones, they stay in the middle ground. They are not using much, obviously. They are not cycling like a pro bodybuilder, but they are still using, and it doesn't choke. Or there are other hormones that are a bit too high or a bit too low, and that can be suspicious. But if you were to look at them like that, you would not even think they are using anything. You would just think they are like your average gym bro, is training on his free time and doing his best. And yet they are using HRT. Second, it's not about the total testosterone, it's also about how much you convert this total testosterone into estrogen and also into bioavailable free testosterone and also into SHBG and albumin. And on all of that, then we have the conversion to DHT and other androgenic hormones. And then we have the most anabolic hormones ever. So it's the growth hormones and all its factors and insulin. Strictly speaking, when you're diabetic and you're injecting insulin, you're not natural anymore. But there are diabetic bodybuilders that can compete and that are still considered natural because they use so little of it. But it's still kind of an edge because insulin is the growth switch in your body. It's like, hey, get this resource and grow. It can be fat, it can be muscle, it can be anything. But if you're training, it's going to be muscle. So in and out of itself, it doesn't mean anything. And for all we care, we do not know when it is time of the day. If it's like late in the day, for example, it could be lower. Your testosterone production, it's higher in the morning and lesser during the afternoon. But the most important thing is that it has a like curve. So it goes like this, and then you have captors in your body that say, oh, too much testosterone, stop producing it. So it will gradually lower. Then there is a plateau, and your body will say, oh, not enough testosterone, let's produce it again. And so it will go like this. Okay. And then depending of where you train into your day, depending of your daily rhythm, are you going to bed late and getting up late as well? Or are you someone that is going to bed quite early and getting up early as well, it can be because of study, school, whatever, or just your job and so on and so forth, it's going to slightly impact it as well. Plus, training lowers it, plus stress lowers it, plus cutting, doing a fat loss lowers it, and eating too much also lowers it. So you need to be fasted when you do this, and it needs to be in the early morning, in between 7 a.m. up to something like 10 or 11 a.m., something like that. After that, it can be fluctuating in that, and it doesn't mean shit by itself. And yet again, you can do hormone therapy, and you can be in the middle, and no one knows that you're actually using hormones.
Spencer's levels were substantially higher than everyone else's. So, does that mean he's the fake natty? Well, to check and see, I went ahead and got his luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone levels measured as well, since those hormones tend to drop very low with steroid use. So, if Spencer has high testosterone combined with low LH and low FSH, that would make me do a double take. And as it turns out, his LH and FSH levels were totally normal, right in the middle.
This is a healthy young man. He will probably build a lot of muscle later on, but as far as we are concerned, this is a healthy young man. And still, as Jess said, when we're using steroids, these fertility hormones tend to get lower. But there are apparently stuff you can do. I don't have the details. I'm trying to understand better, so I'm interesting myself in the subject. But there are apparently stuff you can do or take or whatever that will not suppress your fertility hormones, and or in the PCT, so you do your cycle and then after you're supposed to take stuff to let your body recover, help itself get back to normal, flush out and detox kidneys and liver, for example. It's supposed to also raise this stuff. Yet again, it is looking natural. It does not look like overgrown. There is nothing very suspicious on its physique, but it could be using stuff that bodybuilder could use in the PCT. We do not know. We do not know. He's in the range, but it doesn't mean anything. It's so fucking sad, but it's the truth. And all of that, I forgot to say, but all of that do not factor about the AR density, the AR sensitivity and speed of cycles, and also on all the other enzymatic reaction in your body with, for example, the mTOR switch, and other things with the insulin sensitivity, the glucose metabolism gene factor, I think it's F2HC, something like that, and so on and so forth.
Range. In fact, the LH and FSH levels were all...
Okay, so yet again, Julius looking's fine, but it could be a guy who's rebounding from PCT. Shema, the same. Usain, the same. Oh, Jeff is fucked up. He's Connie. Oh, Jason. Oh, Jason was tired. It must not have been in the morning. Looking at this shot, it must not have been in the morning. It must be like afternoon something. But yet again, it doesn't mean anything by itself.
And to be clear, I definitely do think Spencer is natty. A 928 testosterone level is a bit high, but it's nothing really out of the ordinary for an active young male in their late teens. But more interestingly, and contrary to popular belief, more testosterone didn't correlate with more muscle, at least not within the natural range. And research actually supports this. Studies show that as long as you're within the normal, healthy range, testosterone doesn't do nearly as much for muscle growth as people seem to think. It isn't until you...
It's true, but it's really synthetic on the subject. If you have low testosterone, so let's say 200 or lower, or even 300, any increase, you will immediately feel it. It's a bell curve, okay? So if you're very low in testosterone and you increase it, you will feel it immediately. I'm talking like, for example, going from 200 to 500. You will feel immediately better. You will look better. Your life will be better. Going from 500 to 700, however, will not be as good, and you may even not feel like something changed. Yet again, it is also depending of your AR cycles, your AR density, the mitochondrial health, and plenty of other factors that are like, there is so many factors. And health is included as well. Not just testosterone alone doesn't mean shit. That's it. I have seen guys that were natural, that got up as high as 12 and even 1500, and they were natural, and I do believe them, and they did not feel like absolutely good, It's a bell curve at some point, or even like a diminishing return curve. It's like if you're really, really low, you must feel like shit, you must be really trash, health-wise. You get up, it will be very quickly better, but at some point it will cap, and the difference feeling-wise between, 600 and 800 is basically the same, and 800 to 1000 must be basically the same as well, maybe a bit more, I don't know. But then 1000 to 1500, nothing much happens. And every guy that I've seen that are trying to biohack and do stuff to really increase as much as possible the testosterone without using anything more, they all reported the same thing. So you really need to go far and far beyond, like he's saying, probably builders going very, very far, like 5,000 plus, to really make it so that the testosterone is changing stuff. And then we can also start to talk about the difference between tissue concentration of hormones, so the hormones that are inside your cells, inside your tissue, versus the circulating hormones. And a blood work is only circulating hormone. You can have an hormone that is low into your blood work, and it is actually very highly concentrated in your tissue. Welcoming biology, guys.
Start injecting testosterone and you get to those super physiological levels that it really packs on the size. Now, of course, it's always possible that someone could have used something in the past, but I think the most plausible scientific explanation
that Usain guy, a little fat around the tits. So either he was very obese in the past,
or combine years of really hard training with dedicated nutrition and the right parents, the results can be super impressive. If you want to maximize your own natural potential, you need to dial in your nutrition. I honestly think just getting your body fat down is probably the #1 thing you can do to look as jacked as you possibly can naturally. I'm using MacroFactor to run my own cut this summer, and honestly the app makes the whole process super easy and kind of fun. Tracking your macros is like playing a game to hit your targets each day. We have a super fast barcode scanner, and we recently rolled out a new AI photo feature where you just take a picture of your meal and the app will estimate the macros. If I'm having a snack like a protein bar, blueberries, and some mixed nuts, I can just snap a pic of the meal and it'll pull everything up at once. It even captures trickier meals
like my
ingredients shockingly
and chronometer,
well. And honestly, if you do that in real time with whatever you've got in front of you, it's going to be a lot faster than manually searching for every individual item. And if the numbers ever seem a little off, you can always manually adjust the amounts after. I use this new tool all the time. It just got everything that's on it, and honestly, I think this is completely accurate. The app will take all the guesswork out of dieting for you. It uses science-based algorithms to coach you to your goal based on your unique metabolism. All you need to do is take 5 or 10 minutes a day to log your body weight and what you eat. We've got more than 300,000 active users, and our community has shown off some of the best transformations I've ever seen. So if you'd like to get started, just download MacroFactor on the App Store or Google Play, put code Jeff, and you'll get 2 weeks
it's
for
done.
free.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you all.
Oh, it's done. Okay, well, that's that. So, to give you some titties, I always respected Jeff, but this video is like, nah. I'm not trying to assassinate him, I'm not trying to disrespect him, but like, nah, this is a huge L. Testing testosterone, LH, and FSH alone does not mean shit. You should have a whole panel. There are plenty of ways to artificially have them look good. It's kind of like window dressing, in my opinion. He's justifying very extreme case just because it's genetic, and one of his arguments, very scientific, was, I saw him once, I trained with him once, when he's Asian, so it's okay. No, it's not. And the other guy is just a freak. Okay, all right. Thanks, science. There is nothing that justifies that physique at their young age. And I know this because I was training since I'm 17. So when I was 19, I had a pretty decent physique. When I was 23, I had quite good physique. I had achieved about 80% of my current gains. My physique between me at 23 and me at 30 right now, between 2018 to 2025 right now, it didn't change much. Still, I'm better. But it did not change much because at the end of a bulk, when I was 23, I was around 83 kilogram, and I was about maybe 12 or 13% body fat, and I am currently the same weight at a little less than 8% or around 8%. So I went from 12, 13% to 8%, need to be 7 years. My arms are an inch bigger. My calves as well, my legs as well, everything is bigger, everything is better. except the waist. The waist is still about 74 centimeter or about 29 inches, I think, something like that. So I'm better. No, I was not like unemployed and just going through the motion during 7 years, but it's not drastic. In fact, I caught up very easily the first year, and the second year it was less, and the third year was less. And it's been basically 7 years that I'm grinding and scrapping whatever I can, As far as I'm concerned, this could mean that Julius still have about 2 good years for him, at least, and then there is a grind. Same thing for Hussein. It must be, technically speaking, almost done with the grind. I'm just seeing yet again another new generation of recycling of fitness model and influencers that are here to sell you shit and telling you they are natural, they're not. Okay? I'm thinking about something right now. And that is that some of you may think that thanks to new machines and new equipment and better understanding with science of training and recovery and nutrition and blah, 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 and also the fact that, we have never been able to eat that much and be so safe in the world. There has never been so little war in the world, and it has not been so easy than currently to get into the gym and to train and to access information that are at least okay, decent to go training, and that every generation we are basically a bit taller and a bit bigger. Okay, in France, for my generation of guys, you are considered short if you are below 170 centimeter, so 5'7", and you're considered tall if you're above 5'11" or 181 centimeter. Okay, the average weight must be something like 70 to 75 kilogram. All right, so 160 pounds. Apparently, the Gen Z is basically 2 centimeter taller. So the average height for a Gen Z French dude would be 5'10" or 178 centimeter, and a bit heavier, 80 kilograms, something like that. Depending on the country, US, Canada, Netherlands, whatever, it's going to, of course, vary. But the more generation progress, the bigger and the taller we are. Still, that does not justify the fact that at only 19 and only 23, they are that way. It doesn't justify it, The Smith machines are still Smith machines. The arm strength machine are the same since 25 years. The new machine of Technogym or whatever, Matrix or Cybex and Hoist are basically the same things. They are just maybe fine-tuning stuff, finding new stuff here and there. So every 5 years, a new machine comes out and it's something fantastic. But it doesn't change that much. Because if you take Ronnie Coleman or Arnold and you put them in a time machine and you put them right now, okay, they would trump everyone. They would still trump everyone. And Jay Cutler as well. And if we put Chris Bumstead, natural, back in the 40s, he would trump everyone. It's a genetic thing. It's a genetic question at the highest level. Keyword being highest level. If you're not at the highest level, you're genetic. It's not that we do not care. It's just that you have no say anyway about it. So you might as well, train as hard as you can and do as best as you can. But you're not supposed to have this kind of body at barely 20. Imagine in 10 years, both of them. If you really wanted to be thorough with the testing, also I'm thinking, you should have tested for like androgen receptor density, maybe the genetic of the muscle fibers, the AJF1, the mTOR, stuff like that, the polymorphism of androgen receptors and maybe other stuff. I don't know. I guess Jeff wanted to do good, but it is a blatant failure. And I'm glad that people are reacting on that, because it's not because you put the label science-based or evidence-based every single time you do a video that you are going to appeal to everyone and you're going to be some kind of authority. No, this type of thing are not science-based. They're not. I do not care. If it was a way to defend science and to show you guys how it's done, you missed.